Hi there, Jamie Keat here today at Teachers Tech. Hope you're having a great day today. Today I'm going to be taking a look at OpenShot. I'm going to do a beginner's tutorial kind of showing you all the things so you can get ready using OpenShot. OpenShot is a free, very simple to use video editor that you can download for your Windows, Mac, or Linux systems. So we're going to go through it. I'm going to put my timestamps down below in the description so you can jump around to any part. I'd really like to know what type of video editors you're using for free, if I can find some more as I continue this tutorial series on free video editors. Well, anyway, let's get started today on this beginner's tutorial for OpenShot Video Editor. First off, if you haven't downloaded OpenShot yet, just simply go to the download and I'll put a link to this. It's going to auto find your system, your operating system that you're on. You can see today I'm going to be working on my Windows system, but you can just go ahead and pick your own here too. So I'm just going to go ahead and close this. It's a really easy install. When you open up OpenShot, this is the screen that you get. It automatically starts into a project. Whenever you're saving anything, you can just go up to the top to the menu and you can see where we have save project up top, and you have your different shortcut icons right up top too. So first of all, let's look at the preferences here, because you might want to change and know a couple preferences that just might make this easier for you in OpenShot. So if I go to Preferences under Edit, you can see under the General here, we have languages. So defaults with the English, but if you're looking for a different language to work on, just do the drop down and pick which one works best for you. The other thing I want to show you is the keyboard shortcuts here. So you can just simply go through so you know what all the different shortcuts are. This can save you a lot of time if you start using this program a lot. So I'm just going to go ahead and close this. First thing I want to do though is import media here, and it's very easy to do this. I'm going to show you this in 3 ways. First of all, I'm just going to change the size of my screen. I have some video, audio, and images ready to go here in a file on my desktop. The easiest way to import this would just be to grab them and just drag them over. And you're going to see it goes into the project files right beside. I'm just going to make this larger again. Another way that you can do this is just simply hit the green plus sign, import files, and then you can just go to the file we're at, and this is the same file, and I could import them all again. And another way would be to right click and import files. So very easy to get your files in. So you can see this is going to be your project files where you're going to be working with your video, your audio, and your images. This is your timeline down below where we're going to be dragging things, and I'll show you that in a moment. And this is where you're going to preview your work on the timeline. A lot of other editors, you'll see another source window to preview these ones, but this one doesn't have this one. A couple other things I just want to show you with the setup here. You can grab and drag these around to get your, if you wanted things in a different place. Feel just comfortable by just grabbing the top of it and dragging it to wherever you want. You can kind of lay it on top, but you can see it will adjust and you can play all around with it. If you get things kind of messed up, you can see how I can close down any of these windows, or maybe you've closed down too many windows. The other thing you can do to simply get back to where you were before, go to the view and then go to views here. And if I go to simple mode, you're going to see that it just jumps back to where I was before, and I can resize it here. So very simple to get back if you've made some adjustments that you don't know how you made them. So let's go on and take a look at our timeline now, how we can start bringing these clips down into it. All right, let's put some things to our timeline, and I'm going to show you 2 different ways how to do this here. And then I'm going to show you some of the ways just to get a different view of your timeline. So first of all, I'm just going to grab a video here. I'm going to grab this one and just drag it into a track 3 I'll grab it into. And now I'm just going to go grab my playhead, move it a little closer. I'm going to hit the green button here to play it, and you're going to see, and here there's audio attached to this. It's just a video clip recorded on it. I can bring down audio. The one thing to note, a lot of video editors will have a separate audio track for it. These are just called track 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I bring down audio, I can bring audio into the same track and have it play after, or I could bring it under like so. So it's not a separated audio tracks. You can just bring it, all the tracks, you can use them how you'd want. You can also bring images in. So this is just an image I have. If I bring this in, so now I've brought in a video, an image, and some audio here. I want to talk a little bit about the views here. So at any time you can zoom up. So you can see right here, there's the plus here. If I just hit the plus a few times, it will zoom up, or I can drag this bar to go zoom out or in. So if you wanted to find a specific area of a video to work on to get more detail, you might want to zoom in and out on it. This one over here, the snap tool here, I'm just going to move, I'm going to zoom all the way out here so you can see more. The snap tool, how it works, so if I grab this image and if I was bringing it over, notice how it just floats easily over top of the video. The snap tool here allows me to kind of bring it to the edge and snap. So snap, it makes it a little bit easier if you're fitting all your videos or image and videos together. This is a razor tool right here, the scissors. So it's something I can just cut my video clips up with, or audio. I'll show you that a little bit later. This is to add markers to this. So if I go ahead and I wanted a marker, I could click the blue and then I can jump. I already had a couple of markers in and I can jump to the next markers too. So a little bit about the tracks now. I mentioned it before, you can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can add more tracks very easily. This right here, hit the plus, and you can see I have track 5. Now I could right click also. If I go ahead and right click, I could add track above or add track below. I could rename it. So if you're working with overlays, or if you wanted maybe to name your music, you can go ahead, makes it a little bit easier that way to just recognize what's on each track. Locking track, if you know you don't want it to be messed with, go ahead and lock it, and then you won't be able to make any changes to it. And you can remove the track, but be careful in case you have anything on it that you don't remove it there. So that's just a little bit about the viewing options on this. So that's one way you can bring your all your different audio, video, and images to your timeline. Another way to do it, if I select all of these, or I could select maybe 2 or 3 of these, I'll just select 3 of these for now, like this. I can right click and I can go to add to timeline. So if I go to add to timeline, what you're going to notice is I'm going to get this window that pops up, and this is a handy little feature to make it easy. And I could really see it if you were having, if you had something with images and if you just wanted to make a slideshow, this would work really, really easy on this one. So it's the 3 different audio tracks here. And then what happens is you can see I can pick, the track is here, everything's, I can tell what track I wanted to go to, the start time. I can even add transitions into it, or animations, so I can just go through and add them to this one. So if I just put random, I'll fade out, just to give an example here, like this, and I'm going to hit OK on it. So go ahead and hit OK. Takes a second. Sometimes you can see, so all went to track 5 because that's where I selected it, and it just went through and put it. I'll play it, and you can see now how it's adding the transitions and the different fades in on it. So very, very easily, if I would have taken a little bit more time to do this, you know, I could even get it more exact. When you want to remove anything out of this, just you can simply remove one at a time. You can right click or remove clip, or you can just hit delete on your computer too. So if you select a clip and you just go ahead and hit delete, it's gone. If I wanted everything out of here, highlight over everything, I'm just going to hit delete, and it will disappear. So those are just some things to get started with the timeline, different ways to drag it in and different ways to view it. So let's get moving on to different ways we can do some editing in OpenShot now. So now I want to show you how we can quickly add some transitions, some animations, and some fading on your clips very easily in OpenShot. So I'm going to drag down a couple clips here. I'll just drag down this one, a couple of shorter ones, and this one here. So first of all, let's do a transition. With transition, all I have to do with the clips, and this would work with images or anything I have on it, if I drag over and then just stop, you're going to get this transition where that blue area is right there. That's going to be the transition. So if I'm just going to scrub it over and hit play, you can see now we had a nice smooth transition in between. It just kind of did a dissolve between it. I'm going to go ahead and click on this transition, you can see I can make this transition longer if I wanted to. I have some options here. If I click on the little arrow, I can copy it, I can reverse the transition, I can go to my properties, I'll talk about that a little later, and I can remove the transition too. I could also just hit delete on the transition. So I did delete it because I wanted to show you all these other transitions that you have up here. So if I wanted to find a certain transition, I'm just going to pick kind of one at random here. I can drag it down on top, and what I'm going to do is just make this one shorter. So now if I play it, you'll be able to see the transition through it. So very quickly to add transition between clips. Another thing you can do, and just on a note, remember you Control Z on Windows or Command Z on Mac will undo your last ones. The other way, you do have the undo arrow up top if you wanted to go back and undo your last steps. So if I'm just going to take these apart here, because what I want to show you now is some other things with animation. So let's go, actually I'm going to go to this clip here, this first clip, and I'm going to add an animation. So if you right click, and this is how I work a lot inside OpenShot, just go up to animate, and you can see you have all these different options to quickly animate your clip. So maybe I wanted to, at the start of the clip, I wanted to edge right to center. So you can go through and pick what works best for you here. So I'm just going to go click at the beginning here, move over to my beginning, and I'm going to hit play. And you can see that it added that animation to it here. On this one, if I hit play, it did it too, because I had both selected on it. If I right click and go to animate, I'm going to go to no animation. You can see I've taken it off that one there too. So animate, really easy to add. The other thing is to add are the fades. So if I wanted something maybe at the end of the clip, we'll go start of the clip to fade in slow. So if I bring it up, I'm going to bring this clip, and then I'm going to hit play. And you can see there is this low fade in. So just some quick ways to add some effects before we get into other types of editing. So maybe you have a bunch of images and everything that you wanted to add. You could go through like that. And remember the other way, if I go back and what I've showed you before, if you wanted to add automatically, just go ahead and add to timeline, and you can adjust all these things right through here, and they'll be added to the track of what you want the way you wanted. All right, so let's do a little with trimming, splicing, and splitting here with a few video examples. I'm just going to start with this video up here, and I'm going to do something in the project window before I drag it down into the timeline. I'm going to right click on it, and you can see there's split clip. When I click on split clip, you're going to get this window that opens up. And what this window allows you to do is find a certain part. This works really well for longer videos too. Find a certain part of the video, and you can hit start on it, and you can watch it I could hit play, or I could drag it and I could hit an end part. And then when I hit create, it creates that mini clip that I selected out and puts it into my project files. And I can continue on with the clip. So if I go over to a different part, hit start, drag it again, hit end, hit create, you're going to see another sequence is there. So it works really well in long movies, works with audio. I'm going to go ahead and hit close on this one. Remember, you can add these clips really quickly. If I just right click on it, split the, oops, sorry, wrong click there, right click on it and add to timeline, and I can just quickly add them to the timeline with my setup presets that I would like to have. Now, another way that I can do this is I'm going to take this video right here too. I'm just drag it down and show you a different way that you can trim. So trimming, I can just grab the ends and drag them in. So this actually cuts off the ends, so I'm making this shorter. So again, just drag the ends and bring them in, but you can either work on both ends of it. A different way that you can split inside the clip. So if I drag the playhead over the certain clip, if I right click, what I can do is notice that there's slice all. So I can keep both sides, keep the left side, keep the right side. So if I go ahead and keep the right side, you're going to see that this will disappear over here, and it's just left with that. So I like to use that one. When I drag over, you can see if I just right click on the clip and then slice, and I have those same options. If I'm not on the clip, when I right click on it, you won't have that slice option on it. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this one. So if I drag, I'm going to drag this full one back down here for it here. So another way that you can, actually I'm going to drag this long one just so I can show you how the slice tool works. So with the slice tool, now the slice tool isn't as perfect, I would find, as some of the other ones. It's right here, I mentioned it before, but if I click on the razor tool, now you notice how it's like a little scalpel. If I select, pick a different part, I find if I have the playhead in place and I click on it, it gives me more that exact place where I might want it. So I went ahead and clicked there, and you're going to see it spliced it right there. So I could go ahead and now remove certain clips from it, and I could splice this all up and into different parts and go ahead and remove different ones on it. Now, another thing you might want to do is change the duration. So maybe you wanted something to be faster than it was. I showed you so far trimming, but if we take a clip, let's say like this one right here, now if I just wanted it faster, if I want to make sure I turn off my my splice tool here, and I right click on it, notice we have time. So if you want to speed it up or slow it down, just right click and go to time, and you can see how we can go. If I wanted it fast forward, maybe at 4 times the speed, this will get shorter here as it goes through and reprocesses that little clip, and then it's going to go ahead and get shorter, and then it's going to be, you can see there, and as I play it now, I'll hit play on this one, it's much shorter as it plays through. So if you want to adjust the time, just again, simply right click on it. Another thing that I want to show you to adjust, and I'm going to take this one again, and I'm just going to drag it down. This one has audio with it, so if I go ahead and click on it, you can hear the audio, and maybe you don't want the audio in it. Right click on it and you can see that you can separate audio. I'm just going to go to single clip here, and this way I can actually move the audio separate from the video on it. So you're going to see it's going to create the other audio track right down below. So if I don't want the audio track there, what I can do is just simply delete it here. So as it pops up, should pop up in a second, there it is, I can go ahead and hit delete on this one. So if I hit play now, the audio is out of there. So that's just some kind of the basic editing with some splicing, some trimming, and some cutting, and some separation of audio, just to kind of get you started, and your duration of time. So let's now move on and let's take a look at how to add some text effects to everything here. All right, so I'm going to show you how to add some titles to your OpenShot timeline. Go up top to title right after edit, and you can see that we have 2 different choices. We have title and animated title. Animated title, you do need Blender installed on your computer, and I'll show you that in a moment. I'm going to go to title first, and you can see all the kind of the presets, examples that they have ready for you to go. I'm just going to pick this last one here, and you can go through and play with them, but this is where you're going to fill out your different information. So you have your file name here. What do I want this to say? I'll just say hello world here. Yeah, I'll just say that. And you can see I can change the font if I want to pick a different one here, and I could change the sizing and different ways. So you can go through and get that the way you want. I have my text color that I could choose, and you can see background color, and you have an advanced editor. But I haven't installed Inkscape on this, but I will show you how to install Blender on this. Hit save. And what's going to happen, you get the title up in your project. So now what I can do is drag this down. So if I move my playhead over, you can see that I have the title on top. I can resize this, so if you need this longer, you can just simply drag the ends of it to get where you want, and it will play for you there. So very, very simple to add your titles. Now, we also have, if you want some cooler looking titles here, take a look at animated title here. Now, I already have my Blender installed on this one here. So just so if you don't know Blender, you have to go download this and put the path in your preferences here. So how you do that here is, I'm just going to cancel this for a second, and I'm going to just change the size of my screen here. So I have this Blender folder, so I just went to Blender, I downloaded this for, this is the same file that it came into, I just put it on my desktop. You can put it anywhere you want. So what you need to do at that point is open that file up. You can see here that I have the executable file here, exe file. What I need to do is go to this, I need to right click on this one, go to properties, and I have this path. So I have this path right here because that's what the folder's name. I would probably, if I was doing it longer, I would change the name of the folder and probably put it somewhere else. But I'm just going to go ahead and copy this one, and I'm just going to close out of there, and I'm going to go up to my edit preferences, and I already have this in, but you need to paste that right in there. So then once you have that, you're not quite done yet, because what you have to add is the slash and then go Blender exe. So that's the file name that it needs to connect to. And you can see with the advanced Inkscape, this is where you set it up for that one too. But I just wanted to make sure that you had Blender set up right. You could do the same thing on the Mac when you go get your file information for it and get the path and put it into your Blender command path here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit close. So I'll just make this larger again. So when I go to my animated title now, if I was picking one, and I'll just pick this first one, you can see how it opens up Blender just with these windows opening up right now. So I can do the same thing. I could give this, I'll just write example, I'll just say hello on this one, and you can see how it changes. I can go through and make changes to all these different things, and so this is what Blender is going to go through and do. I have my colors. I'm not going to mess around with this. I'm just going to go ahead and hit render, and this does take a few moments here. You can see as it renders, I'm at 26 of almost like over 10% here. And then when it's done, it's just going to come up as a thing to enter in the file. So I'll just speed this part up here or edit it out. So now this one has been added to it. So I'm just going to move this one out of the way and drag down the animated one that I created. And you can see this was pretty simple, but you'll get an idea. Oh, I'll go to the beginning here. And then this is the simple animated one that I created through the connection with Blender on it here. So let's just keep on going now with looking at some of the effects that you can add to OpenShot. So before we get into the special effects, I just want to talk a little bit about the properties of each clip. So I'm going to bring in this surfer one right here and bring it down. Now I already have properties open on the side. If you're trying to find it, just right click on your clip and you click properties and it will come up there. Now properties is an important part to make these little adjustments to your video or to different clips, whether it be audio or transformation or where you want it on your screen. If you go through the large list on it, you can see all the different things. Here's rotation, position. Now with any of these, I can just drag any of these, or I could just enter a number too. I could go in here. If I put in a number, you can see it just sets it as that. So if you want to just kind of add those fine details to it, just go through properties of it. The other thing that you can do on a clip, and I'm just going to put in a different clip real quickly, and I'm going to right click on it, is to go to transform. So when you get, I'll move my playhead over top. When you go to transform, you're going to get these handles. So what the handles allow you to do, I can shrink. I could shrink a certain part of it. Let's say I'll just go like that, and I can move it around. Now where this comes in handy, if I had it on the top layer, you'll be able to see that I have multiple things happening because I already changed the properties on the one, but I have this picture in picture. Now, if I go back to this one, if I take a look at the properties, you can see how things have changed in this one. So I go to the seagull one, I changed the location by moving it up top, and I've changed the scale of it by making it smaller. I can always drag, and you can see how it adjusts the XY depending on how I want it. And I can, as I said before, I can make those adjustments just by putting it in. So do pay attention to the properties to make those adjustments, those fine adjustments to each clip. All right, so I'm going to delete these, and I'm going to enter another clip back in again here. So I just want to talk about adding a few effects here. So I'm going to drag the playhead to the beginning. Now it's important to, I'm going to click on effects here. And it's important when you add your effect that you have your playhead in the right place or the red line, because if I have it somewhere else on the clip, that's where the effect will start. So if you want it at the beginning, make sure you have it at the beginning. If I was just going to use blur, I can drag blur and click on it and put it right on top, and you can see that I've added it here to my clip. And if I go over, if I click on blur, you can see that I have the properties here where I can make adjustments to it, just like I showed you before, is drag or enter in certain numbers. So now if I have it, you can see how this is slightly blurred here. This sometimes takes a little bit of processing time I found on my computer to it, but you can see how the adjustments made, and that will be done very, very quickly. Now I want to show you one more effect here. So if I go back to project files, I'm going to just use the same clip again. I'm going to put it in here, and this time I'm going to take these chickens that I have and I'm going to put it on the top layer. So understand, with overlays, whatever you want to kind of show on the top, if I click on this one, you can see all I can see is the green chickens, because the green background, because it's on the top layer and I want that green to disappear. What I can do is go to my effects, and I have Chromakey. So if I drag Chromakey over top of it this time and place it onto this layer here, you can see now I'm going to open up my properties on this one. And I'm going to have to adjust my fuzz, it's called. So I'm also my color on it. So I'm going to pick, I'm going to click on the color here where it says key color. I'm going to choose my pick screen color, and I'm going to try to choose something really close to the chickens. I'll go right there, and I'm going to hit OK. And you can see how it's taken away a lot of the background. Then if I need to, I can make my adjustments to the fuzz to get it better and better on this. Sometimes what has to happen, and I'll put in a large number. Let's see what happens if I put a 100 in here. And then you can see it even got a little better on this one. So maybe then you go back and you go to transition if you want them a little smaller. If I go to transform, I can make these. If I make them, maybe I want them smaller on the beach. Oh, that was a little too small here. I'll make them a bit bigger, but then I can move them around. And so with the green screen effect, you can see now they're eating on the beach like this. So sometimes what happens is not all the green or the color that you want is out of the background. So what you might have to do is go back and then drag another chroma key effect onto it. You notice you'll get a second one. So you can add more. So if there's a certain color that still wasn't going away, you can go to that one and then get that color picker and select that color and then get it better and better all the time. So those are just some adjustments with the effects on OpenShot. Let's say I have a completed movie here in my timeline and I want to export it. So what I do is go up to the red dot up here, the red circle, and click on this. So I would give this a name here. I'll just say example 1, and I would find out where I would want to put it. So I'd hit browse. I'm just going to leave it where it is here. And then I have for my formats, and then you can go through and pick your target and your video profile. So you do have lots of choices how you want to export it at, whether 1080p. I'm just going to leave this one at 720 here because it's just an example on it. You can see quality here. So when you're done, you just go ahead and hit export. And then if you're uploading to YouTube, you just would log into YouTube and grab that file and drag and drop it or upload it to your YouTube channel if that's how you want it, and place it in your correct playlist. So I hope you like this OpenShot tutorial today, this beginner's tutorial. I tried to cover a lot of different things. If you'd like to see more in it, please let me know in the description down below. Remember, I do weekly tech tips, and I'm going to continue this with continue a playlist on free video editors with helping people trying to find the best one for it. So if you have liked everything, please hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching this time, and I'll see you next week.